What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Grown Man Sessions. I'm your host, Timothy Rhyme. On this podcast, we're just trying to empower young men for generations to come. Hopefully, we are going to be having real and honest conversations with other grown men and have them share their stories and talk about things that they've had to deal with, so that hopefully we can learn from them and soak up all the lessons and all the gems, so that we can improve ourselves. And without further ado, let's get this thing going. Yeah, so on today's show, I get the pleasure of interviewing my boy, 60 East. 60 is from Ontario, California. He's like, the man in the IE. He's been touring all around the country. He's got projects dropping left and right. He's the creator of the Happiness of Pursuit Festival, which is an independent hip hop event that happens multiple times a year now. And he's a father, you know what I mean? And welcome to the show, bro.
Good luck. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah. Do me a favor, man, and for all those people out there that don't know you, because I'm sure everybody that knows me knows you, and we kind of have that history together. But for everybody else, like, just give them a brief rundown on your background and your journey to where you're at now.
Man, you kind of said it all, but I kind of just grew up a hip hop kid. I started breakdancing, watching my older brother DJ. That eventually led to him to being a producer, and my older cousins rapping. And that it led to them starting a record label. So like before I knew it, in junior high, I was street teaming for like an indie label based out of my mom's crib. And then that goes into high school. And now I'm selling CDs and promoting shows that these dudes are throwing through high school. And that turns into me rapping. And then, fast forward, I turned 18 and it's like, all right, I start focusing on a solo career. I started working with you guys, First Dirt in Sacramento. And that's when I first started touring. Started touring a lot, got into music education by my mentor, Jay Warzinski. That's when we started speaking a lot, doing a lot of school events, IES, NAM, and all those events. Always been a fan of festivals as we started performing at more and throwing more events through the First Dirt brand and becoming, promoters. I got, started the festival and, fast forward, we're here. But in between all that, I, picked up PR, marketing, basically all hats that are worn in the music industry.
Yeah, man, you kind of have to being an indie artist, man. But I think it's a valuable thing to have under your tool belt, man, because can't nobody get over on you, if you know everything about the industry.
Yeah. I don't think you could ever know everything, especially with this industry and technology and new apps and, metadata and all kinds of crazy stuff happening every day. Like, hard to keep up.
I feel you, man. I mean, being an independent artist, man, I give you a lot of credit because it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of the reason why I feel like people kind of don't last long in the music industry is because, in this landscape now, you kind of have to be a little bit more self-sustaining. But I've noticed along the way, I'm sure you've seen it too, is that artists just want to be artists and they don't really want to do all these other things that you're doing. And so let me ask you, man, like along the way, man, you have to deal with a lot of rejection and a lot of like hardship, to be able to get, a career going and to sustain your career. Like, how did you deal with that rejection, man? Because like, we've all experienced it.
I always looked at it as paying my dues and putting in the hours.
Yep.
And I just kind of always seen it like that, especially in the music industry. Becoming an artist is a very humbling experience coming from, just being a normal person. Like, people talk down to artists and look down to artists. And like, you just, it just kind of comes with the territory. People always think of artists like these bum ass people, sleeping on couch people and stuff like that. And having to fight that stigma and the rejection that comes with, trying to even start any business and promote any product that you may have created from scratch. It's going to happen. As far as dealing with it, I always looked at it as rolling with the punches and just being part of the game, part of the learning process.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Like any business you start, it doesn't matter if you're in the music industry, if you're opening up a bike shop, if you have your own like consulting business, whatever, you're going to have like a lot of rejection. There's going to be hard times. There's going to be things that are out of your control, and you just have to kind of keep adapting, man, and keep learning, and just like 60 said, just keep paying your dues, because that's all it is, man. It's just, what do they say, that overnight success in the music industry is what, 10 years?
You know what? It's funny. Like, you were one of the first people to tell me that, and I had heard it before, and since I got in the game, but I remember 2009, 2010. That's when I was like barely getting full into the game, and just telling myself like, yo, in 10 years, like, you'll be in a different place. In 10 years, like, maybe that's when it's gonna happen. But you have these 10 years to get there, and that kind of always kept me going. I always kind of looked at these years, just kind of like, yo, as long as you get to that 10th year, like, you can say that you did it, or you'll be, I won't look back with any regrets, because as long as I put that dime in, it was just like, okay, like, I see what they meant.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of relates to one of the projects you put out, man, the 10,000 hours, right?
Yeah. Yeah, in theory, the whole concept is just putting in those 10,000 hours and focusing on your craft and dedication and all that. And yeah, I mean, I played it all the way through. I wasn't sure if I would, but like, as every year progressed and things got a little better, the fan base grew a little bit more or whatever, like, I was just kept it pushing.
Yeah, I think that instant gratification that a lot of artists have when they're first starting off is it kind of like separates the ones that are going to be in it for a long time, and the ones that are just in it for the wrong reasons, or just don't have the stamina, I guess. But I always equated it to like the NBA, man. It's like you don't have very many players, that just start playing basketball at whatever age, and then just they're in the NBA like, a year from now. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of like putting yourself in the right positions, and handling yourself in the right way. And I've seen so many people just kind of assume that it's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe that's that ego that all artists have. Like, yo, I'm gonna be signed in a year. I'm gonna be signed in 2 years. I'm that nice. Like, someone's gonna discover me, and then they'll feel a lot of people do their 2-3 years. They do their tour, and then it's kind of like, well, what's going on here? Like, I didn't know I have to work this hard. I didn't know I have to put in this much work outside of the studio to make this happen. And I think that's where the fall off point is. They'll do like a high school, term.
Yeah. I mean, because I remember when we saw John Connor at South by Southwest, man, and I was like, that dude's gonna make it. Like, that dude he's got it. I mean, we became fans like instantly, and he's had a beautiful journey, man. But even as talented as he is, and as how much work he's put in, I mean, he's still trying to like, make his way.
Yeah, and then people, you never know where you're gonna land. Like, you could aim for the stars, and the star you wanted is over here, and you end up all the way over here, and like, who knows? Like, if for better or for worse, but your journey is gonna take you where it's gonna take you.
That's true, man. I've seen cats like kind of lose themselves along the journey. So I mean, let me ask you this, man, because I've known you for a long time, and you've always been the same dude, man. You've always been 60. You know what I'm saying? Even before you were 60, but how did you stay true to yourself like through this whole process? Because it could be hard, like having so many things tugging on you.
Honestly don't know, man. Like, I don't want to say the trees, but like, just kind of remaining humble, man, and I just being grateful. I honestly think that I've just been humbled so much in the past 10 years. Like, I'm not allowed to even think of myself any more than like the person that I am and that I've always have been, just because of how many rejections I had, times I've been rejected, and how much stuff that we had to go through to get to this place. And I still like don't consider this place where I want to be, or the peak or whatever, you know what I mean? I'm still planning on going, but yeah, I just think I've just been humbled so much over these past 10 years.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. It's something that, like, if it doesn't humble you, I mean, you're kind of like setting yourself up for a rude awakening pretty soon, because I mean, it comes with a lot, man. Like, a lot of expectations don't get met, and a lot of disappointment, and a lot of, just hard work. And so let's talk about that, man, because like, being an independent artist and just, in general, just being a hard worker, I feel like that's like one of the main key ingredients to being a successful artist, as well as being just successful in general. So speak on that, man. Like, how do you feel about like, the work ethic that you have to put in to be able to, to be successful in what you do?
I feel that's everything. I always the quote, hard work beats talent and talent doesn't work hard. I have friends, you know what I mean, that I came in the game with or came up with or whatever, that I've just known, or just people that I know from around the ways that are 10 times more naturally talented at music than I am, you know what I mean? But they were one of those people that just didn't want to leave the studio and never wanted to put the work in outside of the studio. And
Hey,
because
60.
I was willing to,
Hey, hold on, man. You cut out on me. So go ahead and just answer that question like I just asked it.
um, yeah, I mean, that quote, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That always really stuck with me because I always had a lot of friends and I always seen people out there and always met a lot of people that I always thought were way more talented than me. Just naturally had it, gifted. They could play instruments, sing, do it all. And I think they never wanted to leave the studio, and like the willingness to want to put the work in outside of the studio, I started seeing me get me a little further than my friends or the people that I've seen that were like that. They just wanted to stay in the studio and never wanted to do none of the heavy lifting. It was just kind of like, yo, I'm just gonna record music. And I'd taken that different approach, not wanting to be one of those dudes. Like, I would be in the studio and I'd be like, you know what, I gotta leave. I'm gonna go hand out flyers, or I'm gonna go promote this or
Yeah.
whatever. I feel that got me that little step further, and I feel that's what's gonna take everybody, a little step further, is doing what everybody else isn't willing to do. When you're working and working when the competition's not working.
Yeah, I always felt like, and tell me if you agree or not, but I always felt like First Dirt, regardless of if we were in music or not, like we would have just been some hustling people, like, because you got that hustler spirit in you. I do. Rhymo, Lex, Nate, every feel like I feel like if it wasn't music that we were getting together, like pushing behind, like we would have been pushing something, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of like how we all kind of meshed together, man, because we were all of us were down to put in the work. I don't think there was anybody in our group that was like, nah, I don't see myself doing that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. No, yeah, I feel like that, that brand could have went and still could. And it's just I feel like all of us kind of cut from a similar cloth of, you know, being underdogs or coming from humble beginnings or whatever it is, that we all had that desire and that want to get out of whatever situations we were in and willing to do whatever it took, whether it meant driving across the country or, going to work, driving 6 hours to do a show and driving back just to go to work again. And, like we did that like it was nothing, but because, that I don't see that in everybody. That hunger doesn't come with everybody, and you can't teach it. There's people that have it and people that don't. And yeah, I feel that's what got us on Pay Dues and got us all the things that we were able to do, for sure. And
And
I
not
mean,
to
there's definitely groups out there more talented than us and bigger fan bases than us, but we were out there making way more noise and just putting in more work, and we're able to just snatch that spot and snatch all the spots on all the shows we were able to do. We just no one we didn't wait for anyone to come book us on a tour. We booked our own tours. We figured it out.
Yep. And now let me ask you this: if now that you're in a position to put other people on, do you factor that in? Like, do you factor in like, okay, this dude is dope, but he doesn't seem like he's pushing like his brand out there, or like you look at somebody else and say, damn, this dude is grinding, but like he's like, he's still got some work to do on the craft.
Oh yeah, I factor all of that in, man. And I think we had spoke on it on the last one, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm one of the perfect people to be in the position to like dictate or coordinate whoever goes on the festival, because of all the work that we've put in the music game and the pay dues story and all that. And like, I know what desire looks like. I know what hard work looks like. And anybody who's in here in the game hustling, like they'll recognize that hustle and like they'll want that hustle to be part of the brand. And I'm the same way. just talent wise, I'm always subjective with the music, because if I see somebody likes it, it may not be for me. But if you have a group of people that do like it, like I'll rock with it. But I've been waiting to see the kids that like try to campaign for the festival, and I'm just waiting for it. I'm like, yo, do it, man. Like I wanna just throw it out there to see if people start doing it. But I definitely see people like, yo, go tag me in the festival comment section and all that. But I don't see anyone hitting the turf with it. So it's like, as soon as somebody does, I'm watching, man.
I mean, for people that don't know, man, and I'm sure a lot of people do, we put in a lot of work to get on that show, you know, and it was at least like a good, like, what, 6-month campaign? Wasn't no
year,
like,
bro. We did a whole year.
That's right, huh? And I mean, we were all over the country. It wasn't like, you know, we just went to one show and just was like handing out a couple flyers. Nah, man, like me and 60 was thugging it out all over the country, just trying to like, you know, posters and packing tape just everywhere, just you know, just making it happen, man. So to any youngsters out there that are listening and you want to tap in with 60, man, let them see that hunger, you know what I'm saying? Because that'll get you far. You know, and it'll be something that you can be proud of, man. And you know, just knowing that you have that drive and knowing you have that passion for your craft, man, it goes a long way and it translates into other parts of your life.
Man, literally, yesterday I was at an event and randomly some dude just saw the tattoo and he was like, "Yo, you were part of Pay Dues, or you was on Pay Dues?" And I got to tell the story and just like the 10-year later story about, you know, Murs booking us to open his festival, and we just booked him to headline our festival, and just like the full circle, and just to even 10 years later, like explaining the story to this kid, and he's telling me, he was like, "Yo, Pay Dues was my first festival that I ever went to as a fan." And I was like, "Man, that's crazy, dude." And just like getting to meet people even this much later, and just the impact, you know, that not only that festival had, but that it did for us, you know, our branding, and just being able to attach ourselves to that. Like I really feel that's what put us in the game. Like that like solidified us as like independent notable artists around the country, along with the tour and everything else we did. But it was like Pay Dues was that cap. It was just like, yo, like it was basically Merge's co-sign, like saying, "Yo, I vouch for these dudes. They're gonna go somewhere with it."
Yeah, man. Oh, that was a fun time, man. Yeah, we gotta talk about the First Dirt thing off camera.
Yeah.
We'll come back with some more information later, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, being an artist, man, and just being kind of like a business driven person, I'm sure you have a lot of like short term and long term goals. How do you stay focused on those goals? Like, how do you write lists? Do you just like keep mental note of things, and like, you know, what's your strategy to like just stay focused on the things that you need to accomplish?
Yeah, I write everything down. I literally, like this past Friday I had a day off, and just getting organized. And I mean, these days I have, you know, 4 or 5 businesses or hustles or whatever that I have to maintain and manage and stuff like that. So I have to be really organized. So I like went to the store and bought a binder and a folder for every business that I have, and it's just like, all right, this is strictly for this is strictly for that. I can keep all these bills in this one. Everything, copyright, trademark information, legal information, just everything super organized. And in the first page of all those notebooks is like the goals and things that I wish I want to achieve, and I want to do with each business. And the day that I have that notebook out is, okay, I'm focusing in on this, I'm focusing on the festival today. Next day is like, oh, I'm focusing on 60 East today. And just knocking those goals off, and just, you know, one by one trying to knock them off the list.
Yeah, man, it's a very, very smart strategy to write things down, and it's very fulfilling to see yourself cross that thing off your list.
For sure.
So anybody listening, you young fellas out there that are, you know, trying to, you know, move forward, write it down. Like, for real. I do the same thing. Look at this is all my notes just on 60. And I mean, this is just one page.
Yeah, so, I got that. That was something I got from you too early on. They had told us, one of my management classes too. But like prior to that, I remember one of the first times I was in Sacramento, Eli had took me to your crib. In your studio, you had a list of things right there like that you wanted to do. And I remember seeing Tour the US on there. And then, we was working on the vintage, fast forward like 2-3 years later, working on the vintage tour. And then next time I was at your crib, like it was crossed out. And I was like, yeah, we did that.
Yeah, that's dope. That's going on the clips.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've always been a big fan of writing things down because I get so scatterbrained. Like I'm the kind of person where I'll have like a million ideas at once.
Yeah.
And I first started doing writing things down because when I was in writing verses mode or just writing bars mode, I would have like bars come to me and I could never remember them. So I would write them down and jot them down on napkins or pieces of paper or whatever I had next to me. And then that just turned into me writing everything down. Because as soon as it leaves my brain, like it makes room for new ideas and new information. And then I'm not trying to use all my brain energy to just keep remembering that one thing. So I think it's a great strategy, man. And, I'm glad I was able to, give that kind of inspiration, I guess, because it's a strategy I feel like you can use for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like thinking back, even it doesn't even have to relate to music, but thinking back, like if you could go back and do something different, whether it's music related or life related, like what would it be?
Wow. Man, something different. I think I would have maybe tried to stay in school and seen that all the way through like the first time. Just because I was younger and I had more free time, less responsibilities, didn't have a kid, didn't have as many bills. And yeah, I think it would have been dope to do like to go hit a university and be able to do like what you did with the hip hop class and all that, and be able to get into the music department and throw shows at the school and stuff like that. I always liked that. I got to do it a little bit at my community college, and I always looked forward to maybe going to a university and being able to do it. And yeah, I think that's what I would have done different. And I think it would have helped with my music career. I think I would have been able to make more relationships, build with the teachers, build just have more resources at my disposal, and the degree, of course.
For sure, man. Yeah, I think one of the things that I would have done different is the same. I would have gotten my education a lot earlier. I ended up going back to school eventually, man, but like you said, man, it's different when the timing is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you have the time to like just focus on your school and focus on your foundation and building up your network. The one person that really comes to mind to me that I see like utilized their timing and their resources and their vision and their dream like to a very, very like efficient extent is Noel Chestnut.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody out there is listening and you want to, get an idea of what that looks like, is look up Noel Chestnut. I mean, I went to see some with her and she was, helping me with my music for a little while. But I mean, every step of the way, ever since I've known Noel, she's always utilized her surroundings to help advance, what she wanted to do in life. And I mean, to me, that's the ideal situation, man. Like how you said, like, going to school and utilizing that platform to like elevate what you want to do.
Yeah, I did like the hood version of that. I was instead of like being at college and using those resources to find an internship like at a Universal or Capital, whatever. I went on Craigslist and found Jay.
Shout out Jay.
Hey, shout out to Jay Warzinski. But regardless of the jokes that we make, that internship changed my life. That honestly meeting him changed my life. It showed me the whole business side. It got me. I milked it. It was funny. I was telling Jay, I was like, 10 years later, I'm still an intern with this guy. But I was able to use like he got me backstage. He showed me, what a press pass was, and just so much little things that I didn't know. And I got to learn just sitting in the studio, listening to his phone calls, reading emails, and just doing whatever he told me. I just got to learn a whole different aspect of the game, and I'm grateful for it. You know what I mean? It came with it fitted. I feel it was more suiting than the other route for me. But that other route was an option. But
Yeah,
regardless, I'm saying that to say to the young people out there that you don't need like, you know, a big education or anything like that. If you're willing to work, there's people out there that are willing to work with you, and you don't need, you know, a UC behind you or on your thing. They'll take you out of high school or no high school education. You know what I mean? But if you're willing to work, you'll find people that can put you on.
yeah, that boils back down to that work ethic part, man. Like if you're a hustler and you're willing to put in the work, people are going to notice it and they're going to want to work with you. You know what I mean? And
I'm offering the same, you know, if anybody watches this, like, I'm looking for help, looking for assistance, even if it's just volunteering at the festival, you know, you'll get to meet people, meet artists, learn the ropes. Hit
hey,
me up.
if anybody's listening, that's a huge opportunity. That is a huge opportunity to be like in that mix of. I mean, 60's got a huge network of just business people, artists, businesses themselves, and you know, just to put yourself in that situation, you can learn a lot and you can meet a lot of people. And that just goes back to like what I keep getting as a common theme about, you know, when we're doing these sessions is, you know, really being selective on who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, I only want to work with killers and sharks, man. Like I want, you know, I want that mentality that people that don't want to leave until the job is done type people. And those other people, like in my other businesses and ventures, like those are the people I try to surround myself with. If you're somebody that, you know, is always asking for a day off or doesn't show up on time or just irresponsible, I don't want to work with you. I need you to have the same hunger as me if you're going to be in my car because you're on my time. You know what I mean? And I feel like any mentor, anybody that's in the game, anybody who's moving and shaking moves like that, because we don't have time to wait. And
Yep.
waiting's not what got us here. You know what I mean? And I
Yep.
can't wait for anybody. So if you want to play with us, you got to keep up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That kind of like makes me think about the whole idea of being book smart versus being street smart. Which direction do you lean, or do you think that it's a combination, or like how do you like, you know, divide that, or you know, how do you think that applies to what you do?
Um, I think early on, I wouldn't say book smart, but I wouldn't say ignorant. Um, I feel like I think I was like a naturally bright student, but I was just kind of intrigued by the streets more. So that's kind of what drew me out of that. But I was never like a dumb kid, you know. I was never the kid that just didn't pay attention or just didn't get it or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
so I always feel like that I had that, but I just never applied it. So when it came to the street stuff, I was able to apply that into the streets, and that's kind of what got me a little further and made like I was able to money manage and figure out how to do certain things or whatever from a logical perspective. And I think that got me to a place that made me realize that I needed to be book smart also, because the street smarts is only gonna
Mhm.
you're only smart in the streets, and then once you learn how to, you know, be smart elsewhere, you can apply that knowledge in there and use that knowledge for everyday use, just to be on the up and up of everything. But getting to be book smart, you know, took me to a whole nother level. Put me on to things that I never knew about, and just constantly learning and just learning that the people that have gotten where they have gotten is just from constantly learning and always being open to learn new things and reading new ideas and concepts with these books, and just overall as an artist too, just having more to talk about. Not only, you know, when it comes to vocabulary, but concepts and ideas and history and metaphors, and
Yeah.
being more knowledgeable about history and the world and stuff like that. Just reading it just opened up so much more to me, and I just feel made me so much just a better person in general.
Interview over, bro. Like that's it. That's the gem right there, man. I'm telling you, dude. Like that's the level up. That's the ultimate level up. It's just constantly feeding yourself more information, and just constantly having that desire to learn, man. And I don't think that you could ever go wrong, like having a curiosity to keep learning.
Yeah, and especially in this day and age, like whenever there's something I don't understand, I'll try to pick up a book about it. Um, I had been trying to figure out social media for the longest, and then I bought a book, the How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age, and it just changed the game for me. I was like, okay, I started applying concepts from that book on my social media, and I started seeing engagement and numbers going up, and I'm just like, okay, like maybe they're onto something. And fast forward, and I've seen it play out. Like I've seen my Facebook of all places just kind of grow organically just from using concepts from this book. And in general, I could go on for days about things that I've gotten from different books and just apply to life, and that got me to a different place or a different understanding of something.
Oh man, that's so much game right there because it's such a lost art in my opinion to have a question that you had are trying to figure out and then be like, okay, I'm gonna go find a book on it. I mean, you could kind of like get similar information from a YouTube video, but I just don't think it hits the same.
Man, it was a movie or a documentary or a book or an artist, something I was reading about slavery, and it was saying how they didn't allow slaves to read because reading and education and being able to understand words and stuff like that, getting your brain moving is going to make you realize, like, wait a minute, why am I, it kept people mentally,
Enslaved.
oh, so yeah, enslaved, exactly. So when learning there's like, oh, they didn't want people to read, and it's just like, oh, I'm reading everything now, you know what I mean? And it just kind of yeah, it really sparked something in me when I realized, like, I forgot what it was, but it was not too long ago also, and it just lit a different spark in me that I was like, oh, I need to read everything now because that's what they don't want us to do. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, man, I agree. Is there any books that off the top of your head or like from your library that you would recommend to just anybody?
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich, great
Napoleon
book.
Hill.
Yeah, great book. The one I said, How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age. I think it's a Dale Carnegie. I got my bookshelf right here. The 4 hour work week, game changer. Super game changer. Oh, and the Happiness of Pursuit, the book that I named the festival after. It's more a story, but it's an inspiring story, and it's actually full of just inspiring stories, and that book really motivated me to move different and move further and just set goals higher than just higher. And yeah, definitely encourage people to read that one.
Let's talk about that a little, man. Like what was the motivation behind starting the festival and why that name?
So the book, is called the Happiness of Pursuit. Finding the journey that brings meaning to your life. That, I believe, that's the full title of the book.
Hmm.
So the book is about the author, the dude. He had set a goal that he wanted to visit every country in the world before the age of 35, and before, like, he was going to write the book about his experiences and his journey. But like, while on the journey, he decided, he was like, man, I'm meeting so many people that have stories better than mine. I decided to write this book about all the people I meet on my journey that are on journeys of their own. And it made me think of touring and just how many cities we've gone to and just how many artists that we've met that are so dope. And it's just like, man, no one, like, from my hometown or from the people that have never been to California, like, damn, no one knows who you are. Like, I would like people to know who you are and people to know your story and the story that I got to hear from you when I got to see you in Seattle or wherever. So the
Yeah.
idea from the festival was like, yo, I want to invite all these people that I've met from around the world that I think are super talented, invite them to play in my backyard and give them the exposure to play in front of my friends and family and fans and just the people that we have out here. And it's just directly correlated with the book. But in the book, like I said, he just talks about all the people he meets. Like, he met this lady that wanted to go on a date in every state. And then he met this dude and his dad who wanted to watch a baseball game at every ballpark in the country, and just like little things like that, and just telling their stories. And it's just like, okay. every city we go to, we meet these artists that have stories of their own, and I just wanted to give them a platform like he did.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you're already doing that. I mean, how many festivals have you had now?
Um, 4?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty big deal, man. I mean, it's a big project. It's a lot of investing, a lot of potential risks. So hats off to you for doing that, man. Because I think being able to be in a position to offer somebody else an opportunity is a big deal. You know what I mean? Because I know how valuable, and I'm sure you do too, how valuable those opportunities were for us when we were trying to make our way.
Oh man, to get on a festival with some big names, dude, like that was everything, man. That was like that made the year. That was like the event of the year.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what we strived for. We would literally chase people and like barter to get on festivals and stuff like that.
I don't
Yeah,
know
and I
if you
mean,
ever. I'll go
my
ahead.
I always remember too with Murs, like the whole situation with him, and just to this day, getting on Pay Dues is the best day of my life, dude. Like that day was like uncomparable.
Yeah,
And
same here.
telling him that, and just like having people tell me like, yo, that you booked us on Thought Fest, and that was a game changer. And man, I've seen people that open the show like get put in magazines because they performed. Like they made the Hot 100 people because we had the magazine people at the festival, and they just happened to walk by when they were performing or whatever. And it's crazy, it's literally seeing everything go full circle.
Yeah, man. That's like such good energy you're putting out there, bro. Because you didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like it's something that you had a desire to do, and it's your vision, and you putting that energy out in the world. Like the universe is just gonna bless you back. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about what's next with the music, man.
So I've been on a campaign all year, dropping new music every month on the 6th of every month. It was an idea that I cooked up last year when we were on lockdown. I was just cooking all last year, man. I was just making a lot of music, and I just had so much stuff stacked up. I was like, how am I gonna dump all this? And I didn't want to just drop like an album or just kind of do what I've been doing. So I was like, man, I'm gonna stretch this out and try to drop like a single video every month, see what happens. Briefly, because I read Russ's book, and Russ was releasing music once a week, and I kind of liked the idea, so I was like, I'm gonna play with it. I switched it up, put my little spin on it, and that's what I've been doing for this year. But it's all gonna lead up to my sophomore album. I would say my first official studio album.
Is there a release date or still to be determined?
Nah, to be determined. I turned it in. I turned it in. It was about 2-3 years in the works.
Yeah.
Low key, like I recently got my college certificates for my management and supervision classes that I've been taking 10 years ago when we were touring. I finally went back and finished it, and I got them. And like
Congrats.
it felt good, but it didn't feel as good as turning in my album did for whatever reason. Like even looking at them and remembering like all the classes and all the experiences I had at community college, I was like, yeah, that's cool and all, but like I just turned my album in. Like I haven't been this excited about a project in a long time, and from the production to the features to the just everything about it. Like I like took my time with it. I handpicked everything. Um, I it's special. You've heard it, right? Yeah, I sent it to you. I wanted to ask your opinion. You got one of the first versions of it. And yeah, that's something I was doing with a couple of people whose ears and opinions that really matter to me. Like I sent it to them and I was like, yo, tell me what you think. Tell me. I was on my Kanye jumping on tables like, yo, this is the best album. Like, but I was like asking people like, yo, I just taking in so many different ideas and applying them and fine tuning. I drove Phil crazy as many times as we had to record some songs and like do so many edits, but I finally felt like it was at a place where like it was ready to get turned in, so it's turned in.
Oh man, that's a good feeling, bro. I mean, congrats on the degrees, but also congrats on that, man, because I know how good it can feel to like put so much into a project and have such a good feeling about it. Especially because I'm sure now like you have so much more like insight on like what to do to like, to give it some legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I just feel like I just got better. Like listening to like I hate all my old music, and I was like, man, I was whack, man. It's like I know every artist is like that. They're like, man, blah blah blah. And I'm the same way. But yeah, I just feel like the music I'm making now, just like, just even seeing the response from people that have been rocking with me for a minute, and even the new people, they're like, yo, who's this? Who's this dude? And it's like, okay, like I feel it. I feel it in myself too. I feel like I have that confidence now, the stage presence, just everything. Like 10 years of working, I feel like I finally worked myself to where now it's time to, make my moves in the game.
Yeah, man, you've been working on your jump shot for this long, and now it's like it's hitting nothing but net, and
Yeah.
it feels
Fine.
good. But
Trying to keep getting better.
I could vouch for it, bro. Like I think, from your new stuff, like you sound like you're in a new spot. You know what I mean? Like you sound like you switched your flow up a little bit, and like the delivery is a little bit more, like I wouldn't say like calm, but you just sound more content. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you could just tell you got a different swagger about you, like a more like not a cocky one, a confident one. You know what I mean? Not to say you was all cocky before. I'm just saying like it just seems like you feel good about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like I'm just working, working with different producers, taking notes, applying those notes, practicing. Honestly, I think like just learning, writing to different style beats too, not staying in the same pocket or the same BPM, switching it up, learning how to slow it down, learning how to speed it up, learning how to play with my voice more. Just stuff from being in the studios with dudes and being on the road with dudes, and um just like again, just practicing and trying to get better at my craft. Definitely preach that to anybody listening to it. Anything it is you want to do. Being the best of the room always helps,
Yeah, man. And I mean, like you said, like, it's been a journey to get to this point. So, like even if you're not the best in the room at the very moment, that's gotta be the goal,
And
and
if
you
the
just
person who is the best in the room sees you at the gym the same time that he's there, you know what I mean, or she's there, whatever, like they're gonna take notice of that, and they're gonna be like, yo, this guy, he's not there yet, but he's gonna be like he wants to be. It would make me nervous. I'll tell you that. Like if I seen somebody every time at the same time, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, who's this dude, man? Like, um, and I mean, I can vouch for that. When I see cats on Facebook who are constantly working, constantly doing shows, constantly putting out music, I'm like, who's this dude? Like, who's this guy? I think he is, man. But yeah, like that goes back to the hustlers recognizing hustlers.
yep, yep. And I feel like you get to a certain point where it's like that's kind of like your new normal. You get to the point where like that's all that's pretty much around you at that time, because your circles get smaller and smaller as you progress and you progress, because it's just kind of the nature of climbing. You get in smaller circles as you get higher. So like the competition gets harder and it gets like more competitive and more fierce, and then but you're elevating though. That's how you know you're leveling up, because you see your competition leveling up. And then you know the fact that you've gone this far, man, and you're able to diversify and build different branches outside of your own brand and your music, and building businesses. I mean, to anybody that's listening, man, I mean, I would really hope that you would reach out to 60 and just kind of just ask questions, or even just watch his moves. You know what I mean? Because that's like the definition, in my opinion, of an independent hustler, an independent artist that's using every single like possible avenue to try to grow. You know what I mean? And try to like keep pushing that realm of opportunity, like even further and even further.
I would say this too to any artists out there. Like, I'm gonna knock down the fourth wall because I had it knocked down for me that like all these rappers, all these artists aren't getting their money from music. You know what I mean? Like I learned it early on from like Murs. Murs was a huge inspiration for me. Like I found out Murs owned a laundromat, and I found out he owned an apartment complex, and I found out he was investing in Bitcoin and in the stock market, and like just little things that always made me realize, like in an interview specifically, he said it's very hard to make money in music. So if you ever do make any money, put it somewhere where it's easy to make money so you can invest it back into your music. And that is something else that I feel is a game changer in being willing to work like a 9 to 5 or a job and investing into yourself. I see so many people that are like, think they're above that. And it's like, bro, you're 21 years old, you know, drop out of high school and you don't want to work. Like, who's going to invest in your music or find some kind of hustle? You know what I mean? Find whatever it is that you do, but have that, you know what I mean? And always have multiple revenue streams. So if something, you know, falls through, you'll have something else that you can depend on. Having that business mind too, of like monetizing and figuring it out, you know, figuring out your accounting, all that stuff.
Yeah, I had a conversation yesterday with another artist, and he was saying that once he realized the difference between an asset and a liability, he was able to like make his music make sense. And what I mean by that is like he realized that the songs that he makes, the content that he makes is his asset. So he's dumping money into his asset, into his music, you know, learning, like how you said, learning the accounting, learning the royalties, learning the, you know, how to make, you know, just how to make it a stream of revenue. And then he learned that a liability, you know, for example, like a nice car, you know, like if you can afford it, fine. But if you need to make a decision between the car and the asset or your music, I would dump it into the asset.
Yeah, same. Like I'm not a materialistic person, you know. I have people around me with $15,000 chains and stuff like that, and I'm like, yo, like you could have invested that into a business that's making you triple that at the end of the year. You know what I mean? It's like, again, I think that comes with coming from humble beginnings and being humbled throughout life, and just knowing the value of a dollar and being responsible. You know, being a grown man.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like, you know, it's another thing that you know, I touched on with somebody else is that like I wasn't taught like the importance of like, you know, being financially literate, you know what I mean, and being like financially smart. So it's something that I'm learning along the way that I want to be able to make sure that my kids are financially literate and financially smart, you know. But even if you have money, like even if you come from money, it doesn't mean that you have to like make bad financial decisions. You know, you can still be rich and make bad financial decisions.
Yeah, same. Definitely believe, you know, people um from, you know, underprivileged communities, like those things don't really get taught, you know what I mean? Taxes and all this stuff. It's just like you got to figure it out. Like I'm still learning and still trying to figure it out. Seeing how many people like related to me or that I'm friends with that are older than me that don't know anything about the stock market or like any of that stuff, you know, and like me trying to ask like who does know, like who should I be asking, and realizing that this information isn't, not everybody is privy to it, or not everybody has it or knows where to get it. And like I find myself talking to people that are more well off and stuff like that that I'm getting this advice from because they were taught it because their parents knew about it or were financially literate and stuff like that. And like
Yep.
taking it and applying it and like showing my mom like, yo, this is how you invest in the stock market and stuff like that. Just trying to pass that information. And that's also something we're trying to do with our foundation, making people, you know, financially literate and just early on, you know, being able to get into the stock market early and all that stuff. You see so many stories these days of kids like making money off of their Jordans and stuff, you know, buying and reselling shoes and crypto, everything, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy these days. Like I've seen kids become millionaires.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like there's so many ways to make money right now. I mean, you just have to get started. You know, like they say, man, scared money don't make money. So you got to be willing to, you know, and not to say that investing is not a risk. I mean, anytime you know make a move, there's risk involved, but you could be smart about the risk.
Yeah.
You can learn and you can understand what you're dealing with. That way, like, you know, you put yourself in a better position to be successful. Like how 60 said, man, you got to read up, pick up a book. You know, if you want to invest in something, go find a book on investing. Um, and like another thing, like 60 said too, like, you know, surround yourself by those people, you know, like be around the people that you know are going to align with the things that you want to do with your life. And I mean, that's like a really common theme that I keep hearing from you know, the grown men that I'm having on this show. And it's really nice to be able to reinforce that so many times, because I wish somebody would have told me that when I was younger. You know, I had to learn the hard of the hard ways, you know. But you know, it's all worth it when, you know, you can give the information back, and hopefully somebody else can learn and not have to go through the same things.
Yeah, same. Completely agree.
Right on, man. Well, I really appreciate your time, bro. You know, this has been a great conversation. So many things, man, that I'm sure people are going to be able to pull from this conversation. If is there anything else that you'd like to say to anybody else say out there listening right now that might be going through some things, some youngster that's like, you know, like my music is dope, but I just don't know what to do. Like what would you tell them?
And keep working. Life is gonna happen. You know, life, it gets hard, and it's gonna keep getting harder. And you could sit and cry about it, or you could work it out. You know what I mean? Like you could just
Yeah,
you could figure it out. You could take that pain and lay in your bed with it, or you could throw it on your back and use it to push you to the next level and push you up that hill. And that's what I would say. I'll take all that anger, take all that hatred, take all that hunger, depression, whatever it is, and just let it turn into something else. Let it turn into that gas that's going to drive you to happiness and to the things that you want and to the things you want to get out of life. And don't let setbacks or anything like that stop you. If they don't let you in the front door, kick down the back one or hop in the bathroom window. Like, figure it out. If you want it, you're gonna get it. Go get it.
yep. Go get it, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. You know what they say, man. Pressure either busts pipes or makes diamonds. So 60 said, be a diamond, man. Don't let it bust your pipes.
Yep.
Right on, 60. Is there anything you want to plug before we go?
60east.net. SIXTYEAST.net. My new Instagram at 60east909. My Instagram got hacked, so I'm trying to rebuild from scratch. Holla at your boy. New music coming soon on the 6th of every month, 2021. Let's go.
Right on, man. So I always end the show by saying this. You know, one person can change the world, but it's one person at a time, and then one person is you. Peace out. Tune in next time for the Grown Man Sessions. And in the meantime, please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Peace.